faces another controversy involving public funds, around 800 million pesos allegedly lost to overpriced ambulances and devices. A senator and presidential aspirant flags up to 40 million pesos in alleged hidden power charges that consumers pay every month, but a rival dismissed the revelation as mere politicking. And there's no stopping SB 19 from reaching new heights. The Pinoy pop group gets nominated in the MTV Europe Music Awards. The department says it is now looking into the alleged overpriced ambulances and devices procured by its regional offices. This comes as the agency is being probed over its handling of the pandemic budget. George Quiles has the details.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque says the probe into the supposed overpriced ambulances has already started. Duque says the DOH is awaiting copies of documents Senator Panfilo Lacson presented during the last Senate hearing, showing the alleged overpriced components of the procured ambulances. Lacson earlier disclosed the health department has procured 841 ambulances distributed to different parts of the country since 2019. He says each ambulance may be overpriced by 1 million pesos, which means the government may have lost around 841 million pesos from these procurements. On Wednesday, the senator exposed the supposed overpriced components of the ambulances. For example, in Region 4A, the DOH submitted price mobile phones with SIM cards at 30,000 pesos, but local government units bought phones with similar specifications for only 7,998 pesos. The health department procured dashboard cameras for 15,000 pesos each, but the retail price for the item is only 4,500 pesos. And the automated external defibrillator or AED, the DOH bought cost 165,000 pesos each, but the retail price is 96,500 pesos. Lacson says he is not aware as to who the winning bidders were, but he'll wait for the results of the DOH's probe.
Alam niyo, Secretary Duque, hindi naman namin kayo pinagbibintangan dito. Kaya lang, these are public funds. Ako mismo, di ba, personally, I augmented the budget of the HPEP. Kasi nga para maging compliant na ito sa Universal Healthcare Law. And then I feel guilty when I see some overpricing in the procurement of equipment.
The investigation has actually commenced, but we are awaiting the documents as mentioned by Senator Lacson, so that this can help us put together the basis for a possible, if there's a complaint that can be filed against erring officers or employees of the department.
Duque explains the procurement of the ambulances was done by the regional offices of the DOH. He says he ordered the department's investigating team to compare the prices of the 30 components of ambulances with the prevailing retail prices or with the LGU procured prices. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The health department is confident restrictions may further ease in Metro Manila in the coming weeks. Health official tells CNN Philippines the National Capital Region may downgrade from alert level 3 to 2 if COVID-19 cases continue to decline. Undersecretary Rosario Vergeire adds the number of infections in the metro is getting closer to the average figure of less than 500 a day before the surge in March. The health department notes it is monitoring 3 regions for a possible surge in cases. These include the Cagayan Valley, Zamboanga Peninsula, and the Cordillera Administrative Region.
If you look at our epidemic curve, we will see that these areas had their increase in the number of cases, the peak in the number of their cases later on compared to the National Capital Region and the other areas. If you look at regions 2, CAR, and 9, the peak in their cases was September 26. So we are still looking at this because that's why they are still having this increase in cases, full hospitals, because their peak was later on compared to the rest of the country.
The health department recorded over 4,000 new cases today. That is slightly up from yesterday's number, but it is the third straight day the country recorded less than 5,000 infections. All laboratories were able to submit data. Local governments ready for the second phase of the vaccination program for minors following concerns about the safety of adolescents taking the shot in hospitals. The health department guarantees the facilities are safe. Our Tristan Odalo has that story.
The government is expanding its vaccination programs for minors. From 8 participating hospitals, there are now 25 sites for the vaccination of 12 to 17 years old starting Friday. The health department defends its move to conduct the inoculation in hospital setting.
The government will never do that, that we will put our children in danger. We made sure na meron ho tayong special place dun sa ospital na hindi po makakahalubilo ang ating mga kabataan na babakunahan.
Concerns about overcrowding and limited space also pushed Marikina City to conduct the immunization of minors in a mega facility like the sports complex. This is where Marikina City will hold its COVID-19 vaccination program for minors starting Friday, October 22nd. The room is equipped with all the requirements to meet the demands of Pfizer vaccines during inoculation day. So far, only 10 kids will be allowed in this facility, which is just few meters away from 2 nearby hospitals.
Minors, laging times 2 yan ang bilang namin, minsan times 3 pa eh. Pagka dumating yan, hindi pa pwedeng on their own pupunta lang dito. Kaya namin dinedicate lang para sa minors lang talaga yung dahil sa dami. So ina-expect namin isang bata, may isa o dalawang kasama. So yung overcrowding, iniiwasan namin yon.
No walk-ins will be entertained during the vaccination of minors. Those with comorbidities will be prioritized.
Nakikita ko naman na parang wala namang hesitation na magpabakuna sa mga pediatric group.
At least 3 ambulances with emergency medical teams will be on standby in case of adverse reactions.
May pediatrician kasi kami dyan na sila magmaman kung magkakaroon, if ever na magkaroon ng side effect. Kaya dito namin napili na gawin to since ang proximity namin sa hospital napakalapit.
Navota City also held a drive-run for the vaccination of minors. The city will administer Pfizer and Moderna vaccines at the Navota City Hospital. Pre-registration is required. In Mandaluyong City, a shopping facility will be used as vaccination center for minors according to Mayor Menchi Abalos. Quezon City will also roll out its immunization drive for minors at Quezon City General Hospital and at St. Luke's Medical Center. The government expects to inoculate over 144,000 youngsters in the second phase of the program. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
The World Health Organization is keeping a close eye on 20 sublineages of the highly infectious Delta COVID-19 variant. Among these, the AY.4.2 first identified in the United Kingdom. Government data show the subtype accounted for 6% of the country's cases in the last week of September, and that the numbers are on an increasing trajectory. Some experts suggest the subtype could be slightly more transmissible than the original Delta variant, but this has yet to be confirmed.
They're looking at how it's circulating and how much of it is circulating. They're looking at transmissibility. It's one to watch because we have to continuously keep an eye on how this virus is changing. And it's because we need to understand if our countermeasures, if everything that we are doing, our surveillance activities to detect, our therapeutics to save people's lives, the vaccines to protect people from developing severe disease and dying, continue to work.
Health leaders urge the British government to implement tighter restrictions like mandatory face coverings in crowded and enclosed spaces. Experts say cases could surge to 100,000 per day from the current 40,000. But London says there are no plans for contingency measures yet. It adds that for now they will stay vigilant, closely look at data, and ramp up vaccinations. When we come back, how realistic is a 1.5 million daily vaccination target for the Philippines? We take a look at some of the plans for distributing doses with the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region, Dr. Leo Magbanday. And officials at a recent budget hearing get an earful of allegations about hidden charges in electricity costs. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
Oh, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya sa bawat pahid.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. The government recalibrates its COVID-19 vaccination strategy in hopes of a better Christmas and a safe election season next year. Now, to achieve this, it targets to administer 1.5 million shots every day, meaning local governments need to vaccinate 3,000 to 5,000 people a week. Is this possible in the provinces? We go above and beyond the headlines with the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region, Dr. Rio Magpantay. Dr. Magpantay, good evening to you. In February, we spoke before the vaccination rollout began. But first, I wanted to do a little bit of numbers, to show the numbers lang po muna para maintindihan po ng viewers natin. Ang population po ninyo sa Cagayan Valley ay 3.6 million. And your vaccine-eligible population is 2.5 million, Dr. Magpantay. Can you tell us ilan na po ang fully vaccinated at ilan na po ang may first dose na?
Yes, that your statistics are correct. For our first dose, we have vaccinated around 680,000 clients, and for the fully vaccinated, around 580,000. That's around 27% and 22% respectively.
27%, Doctor, of the 2.5 million?
Yes, of first dose, and then around 22% for the fully vaccinated.
Okay. Well, Doctor, when we spoke, like I said, in February, when I did that interview with you, that was February, and March nag-umpisang dumating yung mga bakuna. Of course, hindi agad-agad na-download ka agad sa lahat ng mga rehiyon, sa lahat ng mga probinsya, mga munisipyo, mga bayan. Pero how long did it take for the vaccines to reach your area, DOH Cagayan Valley, and how long was it before you were able to download to the different municipalities?
We didn't have problems with the downloading, but the problem was the number of vaccines being downloaded to the region. So it's only this time kasi we prioritize the areas with a lot of COVID-19 cases like the NCR and its neighboring regions. So yung mga regions naman far from the central, the vaccines actually were much lesser compared to the regions I have mentioned. But now, since we are prioritizing go ahead po.
I'm sorry, Doctor. Go ahead. Sige po. Kayo na po muna. Pasensya na po. Ganyan talaga ang Zoom eh.
Yes, as I was saying, now that the vaccine, we have been receiving a lot of vaccines, of course, from COVAX, and we've been purchasing more. We are now being allocated more vaccines. Kaya ngayon yung kumbaga sa ang battle time para makapag-job kami ng mas marami.
All right. And of course, that is what explains why the numbers are quite low. Like you said, 27-25% of vaccine-eligible population. But now, Doctor, na ang daming dumating in... I'm sorry, 27 and 22%. Now na ang dami nang dumating na mga bakuna, and dumarating na po ba sa region, sa Cagayan Valley? In other words, from Metro Manila, nakakarating na kaagad ba sa inyo?
Yes, that's true. Kasi formerly, all the vaccines are being downloaded to the regional office. And we distribute the different vaccines to the provinces and even municipalities. Now, it has a different scheme. More vaccines are being downloaded directly to the provinces and even local government units.
Okay, that's great. The national target now is 1.5 million doses a day, and that will mean that a certain number of that ang kailangan gawin ng Cagayan Valley. Kaya niyo po ba yon, Doctor?
Our daily dose for vaccination or for jobs is 30,000 a day. So in a week's time, we could vaccinate around, if per team I just 100, for example, so 300,000, so that's possible. But we increased the target of our teams because we have 350 teams of around 200 to 300, so we could deliver that, even more than 20,000 per day when need be.
Yeah. Okay. Again, Doctor, when I interviewed you in February, we talked a lot about the geography, which is very, very important para maintindihan ng tao kung paano nakakarating sa mga liblib na lugar, halimbawa, ang mga bakuna. And that's why we're going to bring up the map now of the Cagayan Valley region because Cagayan Valley is made up, number 1, of the island province of Batanes, number 2, of the mountainous provinces of Quirino and Nueva Vizcaya, and the valley provinces of Isabela and Cagayan. And when I say geographical challenges, I really mean, like we spoke about it in February, ang laki ng challenges nyo. And I remember you talked about how you said you would need to hire, for example, light planes to bring vaccines over the Sierra Madre mountain range, for example. That you had challenges when it comes to coastal areas of Cagayan province, challenges in terms of the island town of Itbayat in Batanes, for example, the farthest point of Quirino, for example, and so many other municipalities sa Cagayan Valley. Nung nakwento niyo po yun noong February, all this time, syempre, ang iniisip ko is, paano niyo nagawa yung pagpapadala ng mga bakuna sa mga liblib na lugar na iyon?
Yeah, that's very true. What you mentioned was really true. But we engaged the support of other agencies such as the OCD and the AFP. So sila ang aming tinatap before to bring the vaccines to the different islands, particularly Batanes. Fortunately, for the past how many months after February, wala namang masyadong typhoon dito. And walang masyadong malakas. Meron man, hindi siya malakas. So, mas madali namin na ibibigay or we were able to download the different vaccines to the areas you have just mentioned, the difficult areas. So, very important talaga yung collaboration and cooperation with other agencies such as AFP.
That's true. Parang whole of government approach to armed forces, Philippine National Police, OCD, like you said, and also DILG. And I remember that very clearly. You said in February, basta't walang weather challenges, mas madali, no? So it's good to hear that. Now, Doctor, the other issue, because kanina nga si Yusek Rosario Vergere and DOH, no, sinasabi nila, binabantayan nila, isa sa mga rehiyon na binabantayan ay Cagayan Valley dahil medyo tumataas daw ang bilang ng mga kaso. So ang tanong dito is, mahahabol po ba yon ng vaccination rate? Are you confident about that?
To be honest, bumababa yung kaso namin. We are now under moderate. We used to be under critical and then naging high. Now we're under moderate. If before, during the critical stage, we were able to vaccinate even a little less than 30,000, the more that we could vaccinate more. That's how I see it. And now that we have a different scheme na pwede na i-download sa iba't ibang lokal na gobyerno coming from the central, mas mabilis silang matatanggap yun at mas mabilis silang maibabakuna. The only challenge we have now is the number of vaccination teams. We really have to add more to make sure na faster yung jabbing natin.
That's true. Dr. Rio Magpantay, the Regional Health Director of the Cagayan Valley Region. Doctor, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Please stay safe, sir.
Thank you so much. You too.
The PDP-Laban dispute takes center stage at a Senate hearing on the Energy Department's 2022 budget. Tensions flared after Senator Manny Pacquiao accused his rivals of pushing up electricity prices. Amor Santos has the details.
Alam mo, let's call a spade dito sa hearing na to. This is all political, Senator Pacquiao. Alam naman natin to.
Hold on, Senator Pacquiao, Attorney Matibag. This is my committee. And you have no right of calling this hearing a political hearing. This is a budget hearing. The senators are entitled to ask policy questions. You're out of order. You're no longer recognized.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian kicked out the president of the National Transmission Corporation or Transco during the budget hearing for its mother agency. Tensions flared as Transco President Melvin Matibag accused Senator Manny Pacquiao of politicking, as the lawmaker questioned his wife's appointment in the Independent Electricity Market Operator of the Philippines, or IMOP. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi apologized for Matibag's behavior. They lead a faction in the ruling PDP Laban party that's in a dispute with the group of Senators Manny Pacquiao and Coco Pimentel. During the hearing, Pacquiao said the continued operations of both IMOP and the Philippine Electricity Market Corporation, or PEMC, have been pushing up electricity costs. He claimed up to 40 million pesos in hidden charges are collected from consumers every month.
Kung mayroong formally ang DOH, StarPay and DSWD ay mayroong naman PINSI and IMAP ang DOH. Isa po ang modus ng mga ito.
Cusi explains everything was done in compliance with the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001, or EPIRA, only that PEMC has been assisting IMOP during this period of transition.
Tumaas po ba ang cost na charge ng IMAP and PEMC sa mga tao? From 2016, kita po ninyo ang gastos po hindi umaabot ng 700. Kahit na po nung na-form na yung IMAP in 2018, yan po talaga pinangalagaan po natin ang interest ng consumers po.
Lawmakers, however, pointed out that 3 years is too long a period for transition. The Energy Regulatory Commission cited a 2012 opinion of the Justice Department saying that there should only be one independent market operator. According to ERC Chairperson Agnes de Venadera, the Commission previously ordered PEMC to refund millions of pesos in over-collection, an issue that has been elevated to the Court of Appeals. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
In a statement, Matibag apologized for his temper, saying he considered the hearing unfair. Matibag said Pacquiao presented private firms not associated with Transco and that the center used the hearing to retaliate after he was ousted from PDP Laban by the faction of Cusi. A lawmaker renews calls to reform the party list system. He says the 2022 race has become a star-studded affair for groups which are supposed to represent the poor and the voiceless. Melissa Lopez has more.
The party list race is equally action-packed in 2022, with 270 groups wanting at least one seat in the 19th Congress. They vow to give a voice to the poor and underrepresented. And some think celebrities and businessmen can do the job. There's superstar Nora Honor with her newly formed party list for artists, a former senator and hotelier who wants to stand for midwives, and the founder of a multi-level marketing firm who aims to empower the poor.
Ang grupo po namin nakatutok po sa mga mahihirap, lalong-lalo na po dun sa mga mahihirap sa mga urban areas, with more attention po sa mga elderly at mga unprivileged youth.
Carla Estrada, mother of actor Daniel Padilla, thinks she can represent Eastern Visayas residents as a nominee of Tingog party list. There's also dancer turned government official Mocha Uson with volleyball player and NTF LCAC ambassador Michelle Gumabaw hoping to represent single moms.
Hindi po ako buntis. Ang Mocha Mothers for Change party list ang magiging takbuhan ng mga ina na iniwan at inabuso.
Why is this allowed? A 2013 Supreme Court ruling paved the way for any natural-born Filipino of the right age and able to read and write to represent a national or regional organization or specific interest groups. The same decision also opened the party list system to any sector, not just the marginalized, which the Constitution defines as the urban poor, laborers, elderly, women, and youth, among others. A lawmaker wants to correct this through a bill.
Hindi pwede mga milyonaryo ang maging kandidato representing the labor sector, representing drivers, representing indigenous cultural communities na hindi naman miyembro ng mga sector na yan.
Some party lists say they want to push for laws benefiting health workers, medical marijuana users, PUV drivers, call center agents, and even the government's anti-communist unit.
it's about time we overhaul the party list system. So I think reform is very, very important so that we can make sure that yung marginalized are really marginalized so that they can have a real voice.
The Commission on Elections will have to go through each party list group and their nominees. The final list will be out in December. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
Straight ahead, more Filipinos make the country proud as they prove themselves in the Southeast Asian music scene. Details after the break.
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid,
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid,
Welcome back. Pope Francis has appointed Luis Cardinal Tagle to lead Venerable Pauline Marie Haricot's beatification in Lyon, France next year. This is the first time a Filipino will be presiding over a beatification ceremony. The process is meant to give Haricot, declared venerable over 50 years ago, the title of blessed. With this, the propagation of the faith foundress will be a step closer to becoming a saint. In entertainment, the Pinoy pop group SB19 is getting even more international recognition. The young artists are nominated for Best Southeast Asia Act in this year's MTV Europe Music Awards. They recently went up against global stars like Ariana Grande and BTS for the Billboard Music Awards Top Social Artist. While the four-member act lost to BTS, they still have a chance to grab the MTV prize. Voting is open until November 10. We have 65 days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
RPN, Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. 13 sa Zinday Utso sa bayan sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang Radyo Ronda, dini sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sibiyahan na may galaon sa katawhan, andang mo serbisyo sa kanan. Ang RPN DXKO Radyo Ronda, sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
O, anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid,
The filing of certificates of candidacy is over, but critics of the government have so far failed to agree on a single standard bearer to defeat whoever will be the administration party's bet. Who will be the true opposition? Or more correctly, how many will there be? Or maybe we should ask, will there be one? This is Politics as Usual. Good evening, I'm Pia Ontiveros. Welcome to your weekly political appointment fix. Our guests, the spokesmen of 3 of the 4 opposition bets in no particular order. Former Congressman Monico Puentevella, political advisor to Senator Manny Pacquiao. He's joining us live via Zoom. Former party list Congressman Ashley Asedillo, speaking for Senator Ping Lacson and the Center's party, of which he's chair, Partido Reforma. Ashley is here in the studio with us, but we're 5-7 meters apart. Very safe. Of course, we're only limiting to one guest per for every show in the studio. Lito Banayo, Mr. Lito Banayo for Isko Moreno, the one-term mayor of the City of Manila, chair of Acción Democrático, joining us also live via Zoom. And I would have also introduced attorney Barry Gutierrez, spokesperson for Vice President Leni Robredo, but Barry declined to come on the show, saying pass, and we couldn't get anyone else from the VP's office, including, among others, former Senator Bam Aquino, campaign manager for the Vice President, because they all declined. And all 3 of my guests, Lito Banayo, Monico Puentevella, and Ashley Asedillo, will try to tell us what's going to happen between now and November 15, D-Day, the last day that substitution can happen. But before we go to that discussion, just to illustrate what's going on, to do like parang a virtual tabletop exercise. We have here on the board the President, Vice President, 2 columns, and we're just going to put up these people on the board. So Ping Lacson, of course, running for President here. His running mate, Tito Soto. Isko Moreno, running for President. His running mate, Doc Willie Ong. Manny Pacquiao, running for President. And Lito Atienza, his running mate. And of course, VP Leni Robredo, even if she has no representative here tonight, and her running mate, Kiko Pangilinan. Here on the board also, just in case, because there is that possibility, Sara Duterte could be running for VP or President. We don't know yet, but she has said that she's going to run for mayor of Davao for a 3rd term. Let's see what happens. Her father, Digong Rodrigo Duterte, is still here on the board. Bato de la Rosa, of course, running for President so far, the stand bearer of PDP Laban. Bongo, running for Vice President, so let's put him here in the VP column. And Bongbong Marcos, running for President. All right, so let's go to our guests tonight. And I wanted to begin with this. A main question for everybody. And I wanted to know which one of your principals is going to be the opposition candidate. And of course, we are presupposing that isa lang ang pipiliin. Let's see, no? So let's begin with Ashley Asedillo. Is it going to be your principal? Is it going to be Ping Lacson, who will be the opposition candidate?
Well, yet to be fair to the other candidates, no? My principal, Senator Lacson, has always been an independent, and he will continue to do so even if he's running for president. And he has never claimed to be a member of the opposition, nor will he claim just for purposes of running for president. Mm-hmm. So he will continue to, well, for lack of a term, people will call it a middle ground or a 3rd force, but suffice it to say, he will continue to be the independent candidate that he has been.
Middle ground, 3rd force, and that was a term that we used back in the 98 elections and all. But it's a little bit more in tune with the opposition, no? And that's why, ginugrupo kayong 4 di ba, as the opposition candidate. So what are you saying? So whether or not there is an agreement among the 4, Ping Lacson will run for president. Doesn't matter what happens.
Well, as far as Senator Lacson and Senator Soto are concerned, these unification talks are over. Mm-hmm. He wrote fini to that discussion already after the second failed meeting with the camp of the Vice President.
Ito yung second failed meeting, yung meron daw siyang may hand gesture daw si Frank Drilon. Ganun ba yun?
That's correct.
That's the one.
Although I cannot comment on that meeting because I wasn't there, so I'm not privy really to what happened. But I'm sticking by the statement of Senator Lacson on what really happened and what he thought was, were these ongoing discussions all about.
All right. Let's go to Lito Banaya, who's representing Mayor Isko Moreno or Yorme. Sir Lito, is Isko Moreno going to be the opposition candidate, or, like Ashley was saying, whatever happens, Isko is going to run for president?
Well, unang-una, Pia, ang problema na sa ating political system. Wala talagang defined political parties, whether you're administration or opposition. That is the flaw in the 1987 Constitution. No? Kanya, over the years, we've had so many candidates running for president. There was a time, 8 yata, 7, ngayon parang 6, I don't know. No? Kasi nga, hindi defined, hindi pareho ng sa ibang bansa na merong Republican, Democrat, so kung sino yung party in power, opposition yung kabila. So at the end of the day, what we have are candidates who represent themselves as political personalities and their advocacies, which may neither be opposition or administration. Mapwera na lang syempre yung administration itself na dapat nilang depensahan yung patakaran o yung policies ng present administration. But everybody else have their own advocacies, have their own platforms, and have their own political personalities heading the pack, whether as president or vice president.
Yeah. So that inherent flaw that, unfortunately, or fortunately for many different political personalities, we never have ever corrected, Sir Lito, how is that going to play into the decision of Isko Moreno? In other words, no matter what happens dito sa unity talks na to, whether tapos na siya or ongoing or may pag-asa pa dahil may November 15 pa tayo, tatakbo pa rin siya talagang para sa pagka-presidente, no matter what happens.
Yes, no matter what happens, Isko Moreno will run for president and so will Doc Willie Ong as his vice president.
All right, let's go first to Monico Puentevella. Sir, your principal, Manny Pacquiao, is he going to be the opposition candidate, or, as Ashley Asadillo here and Lito Banaya also on Zoom said, tuloy pa rin ang kandidatura ni Manny Pacquiao no matter what happens in talks, whether or not they're failed or are still going on?
Thank you very much, Pia, at mayong gabi sa tanan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The senator has always been bent on running, and he has even said that anything can happen until November 15, but he has always maintained that he will run for president. Even before, for the last 2 years, he has been preparing for this. However, like a good gentleman, we have been talking also with the other candidates, because Senator Pacquiao has always wanted to have a unifying opposition, a united opposition. And anything, we still have a month to go, but the senator will run for president, come what may, because he knows what he wants, and he has always been prepared for this. So we'd like to thank his supporters, first of all, for having confidence and trust in Senator Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so if these three gentlemen, Manny Pacquiao, Ping Lacson, and Isko Moreno are going to run for president, and, everybody says, and then let's say Lenny Robredo also decides to run for president, na ituloy na rin niya yung kanyang kandidatura, everybody's saying that mahati lang talaga ang boto ng opposition. And if there is the possibility of a Bongbong Marcos and a Sara Duterte tandem, whether Bongbong for president and Sara for VP, or baliktarin natin yon, they're saying none of you stand a chance against BBM Sara. If it is BBM or Bongbong Marcos and Sara, maraming magagalit if you say BBM, we should call him the Bongbong Marcos. So, paano po yun? What's going to happen now, Ashley?
I think we have always believed that a strong campaign, it doesn't matter who runs against your candidate. And not only that, we believe that we are not only a strong, that we only don't have a strong tandem, we also have we're running a smart campaign, which means that it shouldn't matter who Senator Lacson and Senator Soto are running against, but at the same time, we're also open to making calibrations or adjustments as we go along. As we said, the landscape is not yet fully formed, precisely because there are still going to be potential realignments or potential candidates even by the time November 15 rolls into town. So yun, we believe na it should not matter. However, we are of course open to adjustments depending on what the final lineup of candidates will be for president and vice president.
Okay, we're going to have to go to a break, but before we do, I have a question for Lito Banayo, who, like I said, is representing Isko Moreno. And by the way, sir, Lito, no, this is your second time to guest. You're a regular on the show already. But I wanted to ask you about this, no? What's going on in your camp? Because Florin quits, Cesar leaves, Cabayan withdraws, and Samira melts behind Isko Moreno on stage. We're going to get more insights from the spokesman of 3 presidential aspirants. After a quick break, this is Politics as Usual. Be right back.
Anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya sa bawat pahid.
Welcome back. Still with us, spokesman of 3 opposition bets, Monico Puentevilla speaking for Senator Manny Pacquiao, Ashley Asadillo for Senator Ping Lacson, and Lito Banayo for Isko Moreno. Sir Lito Banayo, can you respond to that question very briefly, and then let's talk about the BBM-Sara, Sara-BBM tandem, possible tandem. Lito Banayo, sir?
Well, si Cesar Chavez was the chief of staff of the mayor of the city of Manila. No, pagkatapos, he was offered a very good job as, I think, vice president of Manila Broadcasting Corporation. No, so, syempre, hindi naman para harangan mo yung career growth ng tao. No? So, nung nagpaalam siya kay Mayor Isko, at kaharap din naman ako nung nag-usap na gano'n, so sinabi namin, good luck, it's a good career move, no?
Okay.
Yung kay Cabayan, he had personal reasons which he divulged only to Mayor Isko, so I'm not privy to what personal reasons those are, but we respect his withdrawal from the senatorial race, but not his withdrawal as membership of Action Democratico.
Okay, all right. Well, of course, in spite of the fact that you give all those explanations, alam niyo naman po talaga dito sa Pilipinas, ang politika, ang daming intrigero at intrigera. So, hindi namamatay ang intriga. But anyway, briefly also, Sir Lito, no, what's going to happen if we do have a BBM-Sara or Sara-BBM candidacy? You know, everybody's saying, you know, you're all, wala na, tapos na kayo lahat.
Well, para sa amin, bahala na sila, no? Kung gusto nilang magsama, gusto nilang kumandidato si BBM o gusto kumandidato ni Sara Duterte, no? That's their privilege and that's their right, no? Kung gusto ni Ferdinand Marcos Jr., well, he's already a candidate for president, yes, okay lang, no? So, laban-laban na lamang.
Yeah, okay. Matira matibay.
Yep.
Alright, and I'm sure ganun din ang sasabihin ni Sir Monico, hindi po ba? Bahala sila kung gusto nila tumakbo, ganun.
You know, Pia and gentlemen, when Senator Pacquiao filed his candidacy, he already knows what to expect. He knows the direction, and he has decided to run for it. You know, no matter who are running, it does not matter because he is running on his strength, on his platform. He knows what he wants to do, and if elected, he knows where to go and what to do. So he doesn't really care who is going to run against him, or whether this candidate or that candidate will go in a tandem. You know, it's we will really know by November 15 of the midnight, and whatever happens, Senator Pacquiao is already ready. He will run on his own strength, and he knows where he's going. So no matter what, whoever it is, mukhang ready na si Senator Pacquiao. Pia.
I love how you three gentlemen answered the question, because you're saying, no, wala naman kaming pakialam dyan, bahala na sila. Bahala na kayo dyan, parang ganon. And then si Sir Monico, not even mentioning the name, but it's interesting, this whole issue about the name, BBM, Bongbong Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., after all, he is his father's namesake and junior. Anyway, a lot of people are saying, one glaring, proof, or proof perhaps that you really should be together, pero siguro hanggang ngayon hindi pa talaga tinadhana. Yung mga senatorial candidates ninyo, para bang you're choosing from the same pool? Para bang pinag-aagawan nyo? Or, of course, a nice way of putting it is guest candidate, So can you address that issue na magkakapareho lang naman yung mga kandidato nyo sa Senado, Ano yun? Di ba, Ashley?
Yeah. First of all, we'd like to clarify that the tandem of Senator Lacson and Senator Soto potentially will be putting together the largest alliance or coalition. So you're talking about Partido Reforma, NUP, and the Nationalist People's Coalition, led respectively by Senators Lacson, Secretary Puno, and Senator Soto. Now, most of the discussions with the members of the slate happen on a one-to-one basis. And we really don't know who they talk to after we've spoken to them. And we're actually not mindful of who they've spoken to, because prior to the filing, nothing was final. And even after the filing, nothing was still final, precisely because, decisions have to be made also at the party level, even from within our own coalition or alliance. So you're talking about 3 entities that need to sort out things from within their own parties. So eventually, kaya nagkakaroon ng ganyan. Kasi eventually after 2 of our principals spoken to these senatorial candidates, they also will be going to the other parties. And we understand that because they're trying to increase their chances of winning. And but we're just happy that so far we have the most solid slate, no? And in fact, we have a slate of 14 senatorial candidates.
So solid, it went over 12.
Yeah. You could say that.
Sir Lito Banayo?
Iba ang aming pananaw dyan, Pia, with all due respect to the other candidates, Kami kasi, kanino ka entablado titindig? You're neither here nor there, Okay. We understand the dynamics, na may mga senador na either re-electionist o balik senador na syempre on their own merit, regardless of whether they are supporting or not supporting any presidential candidate, mananalo sila or llamado sila sa labanan. But we would rather have a group of senators na naniniwala sa aming paninindigan, titindig sa aming entablado at susuportahan ng aming Pangulo at Vice President. Hindi yung okay lang ito, okay dito, okay doon. To us that ayaw namin ng ganon. Hindi pareho nung nangyari noong 2016. Halimbawa, si Grace po had 12 candidates for senator, pero nung nakikita nilang lamang na si Duterte, yung mga iba niyang kasamahang senador, mapuwera siguro si Isko Moreno, iniwan na siya. Nagpunta na sa kung kani-kaninong entablado. Hindi yata tama yung ganong klaseng kultura sa politika.
Okay, but right now you have how many senatorial candidates? 2 or 3?
We have 3. We have 3. Samira Gutok, Carl Balita, and Jopet Sison.
And that's it? Or what's going to happen?
We are considering a few more. Just a few more.
Ano yun, sir? Guest candidates from the other? No.
No, not guest candidates. We'd rather have yung talagang amin. Regardless of whether sikat sila o hindi sila sikat. no? Ganun ang aming paninindigan.
And ang pagpipilian nyo yung mga hindi pa napili ng ibang mga slates, ng ibang mga
Not
candidates.
necessarily. For all you know, merong mga nandudunan sa slate ng ibang kandidato pero sa tingin nila, mas gusto nila sumama kay Isko kesa dun sa unang nang hikayat sa kanila. Those are all possibilities.
Wow, intriga yan. See, who are you referring to, Sir Lito?
No names, please.
No names. Well, how many? How many are we talking about? And from which camp? Is it from Manny Pacquiao? O nagre-react na si Sir Monico? Is it from Pings?
Ano mo, Pia, hindi importanteng 12. Hindi importanteng 12, 14, 15 ang iyong senatorial candidates, no? Kasi ang boto ng tao sa senador, hiwalay sa boto niya sa presidente at vice-presidente. In the same way, na yung boto sa isang governor o city mayor, kursunada niya yon, miski na dynast yung mayor na yon, pero pagdating sa presidente, vice-presidente, may sarili siyang kursunadang binoboto. I've learned that through several presidential campaigns.
Okay. Sir Monico, what about you? What do you think?
With all due respect to our other friends tonight on your show, Pia, you know, our group of Senator Pacquiao with Vito Atienza as Vice President, you can call our group may pinagsamahan. You see, si Senator Pacquiao has been blessed to be in Congress for some time and also in the Senate. So yung mga kaibigan niya, close to him that he has befriended all through these years, ang sinama namin. And, you know, I have to also say that if you talk about diversity or diverse company, kami ang bigla na binigay namin ang lineup even with Nery Colmenares. While the other groups are still deciding and arguing and debating, kami kinuha namin kagad ang isang labor leader at of course ang ating kagalang-galang Congressman Nery Colmenares na pinag-arguhan doon sa ibang partido. You see, manotice mo maski pag-filing, ang unang nag-file kagad is Senator Pacquiao. And that is designed to some people, some analysts, of being decisive, which is a factor for leaders. You know, are you decided right away or hanggang November 15 ka pa magsa-substitute or are you going to file up to the last October 8 filing or decided ka na? That's why to some people, analysts, the leadership factor would be decisiveness. Are you decided? Laban ka ba? Or you know, ganon. So kung decided ka, laban. That is one trait of a good leader. No matter what, decided ka ba? Laban. Oh, don't look at your enemies or your opponents or your other adversaries. If you're decided and you think you can do good for the Filipino people, go ahead. File.
Okay.
That's why the tandem of Vito Atienza and Senator Pacquiao are good because they both have been in Senate. They are in Congress for a while.
Yeah, pampagulo talaga yung substitution. You know, we only have a minute left. I wasn't able to go to a break anymore. The discussion was so interesting. So the final question, and you're going to have to put everything in here. Laban talaga. Will sorry, not that one. No? Will you ever get together or you just want to keep the entire country in suspended animation until November 15? And what is your fearless forecast for November 15? Let's begin first with Sir Monico Puentevilla. Sir.
I would like to put the televiewers, our good audience, to think of this. Sa Mindanao, 14.5 million voters. That is the turf of Sara and Senator Pacquiao. In the Visayas, another 14.5 million voters, a total of about 29 million or 30. Pacquiao is the only genuine Bisaya from Cebu and from Jensan. So you can already analyze why Pacquiao is hell-bent on running. Sa Luzon, you have about 30 million voters. Pag-awayan yan, ng 5 o 6. If Sara runs, that will be 6 who will fight it over in Luzon. Kung 5 lang, sila. So, you have to analyze that. That's why Pacquiao is really determined to run because he has already studied. And you have to understand, with all due respect to the watchers, 5 million voters are A and B, Section A and B of our population. CDE is 60 million people. That is where we are prioritizing. Aside from, everywhere we're going to ask for vote, but yan ang facts of the case.
Okay, nag-overtime na tayo sa laban. Sir Lito Banayo, your brief final word, sir.
Ang labanan dito ay mensahe. It is the message of the candidate, no? Hindi ko na pag-uusapan yung kung taga saan si Isko. Alam ng lahat, mayor siya ng Manila. Ang tatay niya galing sa Antique, mahirap na sakada ang ama. Ang ina naman niya, labandera na galing sa Waray, sa Samar. Pero hindi yun ang importante. Ang importante, lumalaban siya at lumalaban ang kanyang mga kasama, katulad ni Dr. Willie Ong, sa pananaw na meron silang mga solusyon para sa mga problema ng ating bansa at ng tao. Mga solusyon na napakita naman ni Mayor Isko sa Manila sa loob lamang ng 2 taong singkad. At yung mga pinakita niya sa Maynila, kaya namang i-replicate, kayang i-escalate towards the entire nation in order to help our people in this time of the most extreme crisis that we have had since World War II. So it is the message. It is how we're going to present our platform. It is how credible our candidates are in being able to tell our people that they will implement this if they are given the trust of the people.
All right, thank you, Sir Lito Banayo. Ashley Asedillo?
Yeah, as to your point kanina, well, it was never an intention of the Senator Soto and Senator Lacson to keep the nation in suspense. No? As early as July, they've made known their plans of running together as a tandem. And in fact, they were the first to declare in September that they were running for president and for vice president. They've always told our people, they've been very clear that sila ang merong kakayanan, karanasan at katapatan. And this is important in the kind of problems that the next president will be facing come 2022. And we believe in our campaign that between them, and they have 83 years in public service between them, they offer the best alternative and the best option for our people moving forward.
All right, well, let's see what happens on or by November 15. Thank you very much to our guests tonight, Sir Monico Puentevella, Sir Lito Banayo, and Sir Ashley Asedillo. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, to the 3 gentlemen with us. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or the family reunion or in Viber groups and risk digital warfare. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show. Your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you back here next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m.
Anyari sa'yo? Ba't nakasimangot ka? Alam ko na. Masakit ang katawan mo, ano? Sa sobrang trabaho? O di kaya masakit ang ulo sa sobrang stress? Break ka muna. Hinga ng malalim at imasahe ang ulo mo gamit ang Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Ako rin ganun eh. Kaya pag mataas ang tensyon sa trabaho, mag-Herbalaya break ka muna.
Herbalaya Liniment Oil. Amoy na kaaya-aya. Sa bawat pahid,
RPN, Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. Preso sa Zibay Utso sa bayan sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang Radyo Ronda, TV sa Naglayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Siglahan na nagulaon sa katawan, andaw sa serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPN DXKO Radyo Ronda, sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Walang iba ang sarap sa pagtitingin natin. Sana ay pinapag